utilized by the body as an alternative energy source. So fasting unleashes a whole new metabolic pathway of energy production through ketones. And you and I do that, or supposed to be doing that, naturally, because it's built in our system to do that. Because you're not supposed to be eating every 2 hours, and our physiology is such. It's we're about more than 10,000 years old, and our genetic engineering is from that time, when you eat now and you may not eat again for another day or two, and therefore during those times you have an alternative source of energy. And we just didn't realize that. We thought there was only one energy source, and it was all sugar, and glucose only. But no, there's this other pathway available to us. So what is the advantage of having that alternative pathway? Well, when you use that alternative pathway, you're getting rid of the fat from the body. So you don't develop the obesity that we're getting nowadays. But more than that, the body makes you stronger because you're going in that pathway. Why? Because the body wants you to survive. So when you're in a survival mode, you're going to come back stronger and better than before. Because look, if you don't have calories, you think you're just going to crawl into a cave and die over there and just become weaker and weaker and I can't think anymore, and you just go, no. Nature wants you to come back stronger, become brighter, smarter, stronger than before, go out and get your food so that you can get. And that's what this ketogenesis is all about. This new pathway is not just providing energy to you, it's actually bringing you back better. So the research that I found is that when you allow this to happen, it's a kind of a hormetic stress that you're creating on yourself. Hormetic stress means that you're creating a stress on the body, which is going to bring you back better. So when you do this fasting, there's so many benefits. Number one, okay, I'll just rattle them off basically. There's a thing called brain-derived neurotrophic factor that is released. And that makes your brain brighter, smarter. You can actually grow new cells and neuroplasticity as well, which is fascinating. But we never thought that this was possible, that our brains can actually grow back. So brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And then when you do feed yourself afterwards, there's a release of stem cells into your bodies. These things don't happen under normal circumstances when you're constantly eating. So this stem cell mobilization is fascinating information. Growth hormone. During fasting, you get growth hormone. You get more growth hormone production during fasting than at any other time. So your growth hormone allows you to maintain your muscles and repair. That's fascinating stuff that's going on inside your physiology when you are in the fasting mode, which you wouldn't at other times. And then there's this thing called autophagy. And I know there's a lot of people talking about autophagy, and you know about autophagy, but for the audience, I'm just going to tell that, when you're running out of fuel and substance is not coming in, you're going to take all your intracellular redundant parts of your cells and say, you know what? I'm just going to use these for energy because I need energy, right? So under the circumstances of fasting and some ketone production, you're going to take your intracellular organelles that are redundant, and you're going to basically package them into lysosomes and basically export them out of the cell so that the body can utilize them. Now, what you've just done is you've cleaned up your intracellular debris, as it were. And same thing with old mitochondria. You're going to get rid of your old mitochondria because the body is now saying, you know what, I'm out of fuel here in the house. My fire is getting down. Well, there's this old piece of furniture. I'm going to burn this old piece of furniture. That's what it's doing. It's getting rid of redundant furniture. It's going to. Now, when you feed yourself again, those parts are going to be replaced. So the science is now showing that when you clean up your mess in your cells and then you do feed yourself again, you're going to get new mitochondria. You're going to get better intracellular functions, and energetics is going to get better in the cell. So I have found, especially right now with everything that's going on with post-COVID and the patients coming in with no energy whatsoever, and I tell them to do fasting, the energy gets better. I said, Why is that? It's because they're getting mitophagy, their mitochondria are getting better. They're getting new, better mitochondria. So the fasting process is not just about losing weight. It's about changing your entire cellular mechanisms, and we're supposed to have that. That's what keeps us young. Our telomeres also get longer when we're doing this. They don't shorten so fast, I should say. So there are so many biochemical changes, Drew. It's crazy that we didn't take advantage of this pathway before. So everybody gets into a ketotic state at a different level of their fasting. It just depends on what your diet has been before, how much sugar you've been consuming in your diet. But let's say that, like, I eat once a day. That's what I do. So for me to get into ketogenesis is very easily. I start spilling some ketones very quickly. By about 16 hours, I'm already got some ketones in my urine. So I know that I'm in that pathway. Others may take them a little bit longer, but then slowly it becomes shorter and shorter and shorter. So you start producing. So what I'm saying is that you need this metabolic flexibility to become healthier and to heal some of the bad things that have happened as a result of our lifestyle and diet. So fasting has, to me, as you said in the beginning, as a cardiologist, I realized that when you first start your fasting, you're going to get rid of your addictions. It's going to be a tough process for a couple of weeks. Then you start fasting 1 day a week. You skip one meal a day, maybe for 3-4 days, and then skip 2 meals a day for the next week or 2 weeks, so that your body's getting used to it. Look, I didn't die. Nothing happened. I missed 2 meals, but I'm still here. I felt okay. And it empowers the patient to say, I can do better. And then the next time they say, evening came about, it was supposed to be my meal. I'm not hungry. I feel good. I'm just going to skip it. I'll go to tomorrow morning. You just did a 36-hour fast. So that's how I empower them to gradually get into it. Because if we just go straight to fasting, they fail. They fail miserably, and they feel terrible, and then they won't come back to you. They'll say, I can't do this fasting stuff. So you got to do it gradually. You got to just learn to skip meals and know what to expect. You're going to get some cravings, and these are all part of your addictions in the beginning. Then you're going to get besides the cravings and the addiction symptoms, you might get electrolyte imbalance. That's why you got to drink lots of water. Because as your insulin levels come down, you will find that you'll have a diuresis. You'll have much more urine output. So you need to replace sodium. Because with insulin, when your insulin levels are high, you hold on to salt and water. When your insulin levels come down, you start mobilizing all that. So you start having a diuresis. I'm making so much urine, and you're losing salt. So if you get cramps, and you're getting crampy in your legs and arms, I tell them to take a little bit of salt with the water, and they start getting better. So now all of a sudden they say, I feel good. Yes, doc told me about my cramps. I took salt. He told me about my cravings and my behavior. And I'm just going to have to work my way through that because I'm a junkie. He called me a junkie. So I'm a junkie now. So I'm getting out of it. So it'll take me 2 weeks to undo all that. And after 2 weeks, they feel empowered. I did it. And then they start feeling better. The mental fog is gone. They're sleeping better. Their memory is better. And at the end of the day, they just feel so much energy inside them. And they say, Doc, I never felt so much energy before. And they will go and they work out in the gym. They're actually holding on to more muscle as well because their growth hormone levels are higher as well. So they come back and they tell me all this. I feel great, Doc. I don't know what it is, but this fasting stuff is really working with me. And if they're really obese, once they've reached this stage, then I make them do a 3-day water fast. So first you got to do all this. You got to graduate. You can't just go to university. You first got to go through high school and get through all this stuff. So I make them go through all this and then say, okay, now you're ready. You're going to do a 3-day water fast. And then it's just water for 3 days. And then we get better results.
Yeah, one clarifying question that I have.